Ignore chat.
Just about loud. Yeah. Hey, name tags and welcome. This is Ash from HealMyTech, and welcome to this live stream, which is also through Discord. There are links below in the description, and over there I have my friends. Hopefully they're still there. Am I still sharing my screen here? I'm just gonna off this. Give me one tick because we just got caught running out of time. And if you hop over to my stream right now, where do I go again, Julio? I have to click on HealMyTech, isn't it? Home. Is it the Direct General? Okay, I'm gonna have to wait for a second. So, welcome everyone. So we've got Saeed MD Elham. We've got Mohammed Sheikh Wan. We have Coaster Knight, and we have Coaster Knight. Hi again. So, can somebody tell me from YouTube, or even from my friends, can you guys hear me okay? Because there's always issues when I stream. Somehow it just happens to me. I don't know whether other YouTubers get the same problem. We have Pokong1. Hi to you. Can you guys let me know? Is my audio fine? Please. Okay, so first name, last name says yes, loud and clear. That is wicked. First name, last name. You forgot middle name, bruv, or sis. Yeah, put first name, middle name, last name. Yeah. Okay, thank you for letting me know, Syed. Yeah, cool. We've got somebody is calling me. Who's calling me? Julio, are you calling me? Somebody's calling me from Discord. If you want to head over to our Discord server, feel free to do that. Okay. General. Yeah. So our Discord server is managed by Shaka and Julio. They were here last week where we were doing the troubleshoot. So you can head over there. Now for today, what we're going to do is a funky little experiment for the next 7 days. And I want to bring up my notes so I don't get confused. For the next 7 days, not the next 7 days in a row, but we are doing a 7-day live stream 4K video editing PC build 2020. And here's the difference. Last year, 2019, I asked you, my audience, for the whole of the year to get involved in deciding each and every part of my computer build. And actually, the computer I'm using currently is based on a Ryzen 2 2700X and with some sort of GPU. I think it was the RX 580. And I did ask you, my audience, that this was going to be specifically for a triple boot system, hence Windows, Linux, and some sort of Macintosh, Hackintosh. Also, I was going to be doing Davinci Resolve as my main editor, and I am only focusing on 1080p editing at this stage, and it wasn't going to be for gaming, but secondary for gaming. And you guys helped me decide each step of the way, and I did a full series. You can watch the description in the link below for the full playlist. It's called One PC to Rule Them All Challenge series. There's also a link if you don't want to watch the whole thing. There is just a link for the summary, which I did. Okay. So I just need to join the chat first because I get confused on this all the time. Somehow this is only my third. Okay, I've connected. Am I connected now?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm connected on Discord now. Finally, yeah, I'm a complete noob when it comes to Discord. Like I was saying, how is this gonna work? So yesterday I made the announcement. And we have a client and they want us to build a 4K video editing PC for them. There's some requirements, some basic requirements. They're not really interested in gaming. They're not interested in any fancy graphical video editing. They will eventually capture 4K footage and then render in 4K. But initially, they probably are just going to try to capture maybe 4K and render in 1080p, or even just capture in 1080p initially. So I have a list of requirements that I've put, and so let me just read off to you so you can understand what they want. So they have about £1,000 budget, give or take. Okay, there might be wiggle room if we get a better performant system. They are okay, and that was for my suggestion to use part new and part used. You'll get to understand this later. We're going to aim to buy the parts on Amazon Prime Day, which is going to be next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, 13th and 14th October. And if we don't get everything from Amazon, we're going to buy the rest elsewhere. They just want the desktop PC base unit, no peripherals, so everything included inside the base unit. Okay, the case size is no issue, and I suggested then going with a standard mid tower, which will fit a full-size ATX motherboard. They would prefer performance over aesthetics, so they would prefer silence over fancy RGB and acrylic or tempered glass, Windows side panel. They're not bothered. But if we get something for the same price, why not? Obviously, for multitasking, it's quite difficult to beat AMD at this stage. There are some exceptions, so we're going to go with AMD. Again, water cooling, not a necessity, and I think we could save a lot of money with just using air cooling, and the Wraith or Prism stock cooler from AMD is good enough to start with. Depending on your workload, it's good enough for some decent cooling, but we'll think about aftermarket cooler if we have to much afterwards. I talked about the capture and run in 4K. They're not going to be live streaming anytime soon. Even if they do, it's going to be 720p or 1080p. No special 3D graphics motion. For the operating system, it's Windows 10 Pro, and we may be able to get a free upgrade or buy a cheap eBay license. And yes, Davinci Resolve as the main editor. Okay, and then they would prefer having Bluetooth/Wi-Fi on the motherboard itself with the latest connectivity like USB-C or 3.0 or whatever we have. And I suggested that they have about minimum 3 drives. One for the operating system, which is going to be an SSD, a small one. One for the main editing workflow. Obviously, again, SSD for performance and speed. And then one for the rest of their storage. If you have space, this is what I advise, because Windows is never trustworthy when it comes to breaking. You have to reinstall at some point, and it's much easier in my experience. Obviously, if budget is limited and you can't afford it, I would at least recommend 2 separate drives. Okay, now we've got DZ drivers. Give me $10. Why do you want $10 for? Syed. Okay, cool. Now, having said that, what I ask you lots to do, if I can share my screen again, if I did not mess it up, here we are. In the description below, there is a link to a little Google form like this. It's called 4K Video Editing PC Build 2020 1K Budget Challenge, HealMyTech, where you have to give us your email address, optional for name or YouTube channel, and a link to PC Part Picker, and the total cost of a parts list that you think would fit the bill. And then if you did have a different currency coming from another country, then you could convert it as well, and any other comments. And that I will get these submission as a database through Google Sheets. For example, I will tell you one I did initially, which I did not even research anything into. This is probably not a good one, but just to give you an example, and let me just up this a bit so you can see what we are talking about. Okay, so I call this draft 1, and I was even before I looked into the whole 4K video editing stuff, and my total came to about £992.93. Okay, I suggested, rightly or wrongly, that's what you're going to decide, for the CPU possibly an AMD Ryzen 7 3700X. Okay, for the motherboard, an MSI B550 Gaming Plus ATX motherboard, 16GB of DDR4 RAM at 3200 MHz at the moment. For the main storage, that would be a 4TB Seagate Barracuda hard disk drive. For the operating system, a Crucial MX500 2.5-inch SSD. For the main workflow for editing would be a NVMe SSD Crucial 1TB. For the graphics card, a GTX 1660 Super 6GB VRAM, and the Fractal Design Define S ATX mid tower case for the case, and a Corsair CXM 450W 80 plus bronze. Now, I'm not saying this is a good system. I just said this is just as an example, I did this just quickly and just put it up there just to have an idea. So we are going to take your listings. If you go to the link in the description, you can submit a list there. Okay. If you don't want to submit a list through PC Part Picker, you can come to Discord and we may decide to have a look at your list if you want to come on live. You can call us through Discord. My admins will help you, hopefully, and you will be able to do a submission live through Discord. We'll break down each component for you. Now, I would kindly ask Shaka and Julio to kind of present themselves so we can start doing the collab, and I will start taking some questions before we dissect each part, where I'm going to give you some advice if you have a budget. Now, when we say budget, guys, don't mistake budget for cheap. Budget just means that you have a certain amount of money to work with. You can have a very low budget, like a $200 or $100. You can have a mid-range, $500 budget. You can have $1,000 budget. You can even have a £10,000 budget. Budget just means an allocated amount of money. So when you have a budget to work with, you can squeeze out the best performance you can if you do a little bit of digging and with experience. And what I'm hoping from today will be with your input. I don't know everything, and certainly I'm not up to date with every single last piece of hardware that came from both AMD and NVIDIA, and even from Intel. So I'm sure you guys are a lot more on the ball than I am. Anyway, Shaka and Julio, are you on?
Yeah, we're here. Shaka,
what about the video?
Okay, he just came back. Anyways, what's up, guys? Name's Julio. Welcome to the stream. Thanks everyone for stopping by.
Your cam is not on, Julio.
Oh, my camera? Okay,
no.
Gotcha.
And Shaka, I don't know where he's gone. So, we've also got AVT riding experience. Thank you so much, ATV. Vagela Mayor, raw footage editing on it. Stegas, PSU is the PSU only just meeting the system's power needs? Okay. And Syed, okay. I'll answer your questions in a bit. Let Julio do something, whatever he's doing. Oh, Shaka. Shaka, are you back? And
yeah, I think he's here. I got my camera up.
Okay, brilliant.
Oh, okay. The mic is on now.
Hamza Rahman, yes, brother Hamza, I'm okay, alhamdulillah. How are you? Okay, before you say, let me just mention, I think Stegas, you were saying the PSU only meeting the system power needs. If you're referring to the 450 watt that I did in that first build, again, like I said, it was just me messing with the parts list just to give a submission through Google Docs, just to test how the whole system comes. Shaka, I think you're going to have to do something about your audio, please.
Okay, hold on.
So yeah, we should never ever obviously just do bare minimum, and that 450 watt probably will just be barely acceptable. I wouldn't advise for this build. It will be at least about probably 550, 600 would be better or above. But I did a second submission, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. I really want to see some of your submissions. If you still want to go to the link and submit them, or come on live chat with us through Discord, I'd be quite happy to take it. Again, please, if you want to help the channel, consider super chats. There might be a link for like PayPal downstairs as well. Julio and Shaka are my admins for the Facebook group and here for Discord, and even there are some sort of communications manager for HealMyTech. They are able to help you troubleshoot your stuff behind the scenes. If you need more one-to-one, there might be a small fee. You need to appreciate this, but for the most part, they're very helpful. If you have more complex needs, you can contact Shaka and Julio through Discord, through Facebook. There's also a Facebook link that they will give you one-to-one and help you troubleshoot your stuff. Okay, and somebody wants me to say hi to them. Bandichod, Madam Bandichod, say hi to me. Hi, I hope I did not blunder your name. Wyatt Teen, hey guys. Hey Wyatt 10. I saw Wyatt Teen. Wyatt 10, welcome Wyatt 10. Good friend of mine. So who do we have? Syed. Okay, right. Shaka, Julio, any input so far?
About the event,
the submission, the event. Okay, let me give you the full breakdown of the event then. Okay, so today is a live stream. By the way, guys, if I forgot to mention, it completely took him by caught me off guard. Today is the launch from AMD. They're announcing Ryzen 3rd Gen, which I believe is going to be called the Ryzen 5000 series. If someone wants to correct me on from YouTube, please do so. I completely forgot it. If I knew, I would not have said our live stream for today. We may actually continue or start a new live stream after this one, and I might just do a bit of a reaction or just kind of chillax and watch the AMD unveiling of their Ryzen 3rd gen just with you guys, do some comments. I don't know whether Shaka and Julio want to do that from Discord and YouTube. We'll see how it goes. We may just nip over there, but if our live stream, if our live stream kind of overspill into that time, we may just switch to stream through them. So we'll stream through their stream, if that makes sense. But so stay tuned, okay? Obviously, definitely the official launch is going to probably impact on our decision for what CPU we choose for Amazon Prime Day, which I'm going to come to the format in a minute. So Syed says, yes, it is the 5000 series. Thank you for letting me know. Yes, because I believe the 4000 series was for the mobile platform, if I'm not mistaken, or the mobile or the laptop. I can't remember which one. It doesn't matter. Those branding names, sometimes they confuse the heck out of me. Anyway, so what's going to happen? So yeah, today is our first initial live stream. Next Tuesday, 13 and 14, I'm going to be jumping on Amazon. And again, we're going to do a live stream event through Discord as well. And I'm going to be buying parts which, based off of the recommendations we've had, we may pick a best submission. It may just be one submission, or it may be an amalgamation of parts from different submissions to make the perfect build for that system. And then we're going to be shopping for the parts. If I don't get everything on Amazon on 13th and 14th, then I'm going to buy the rest off Amazon from reputable sellers with decent warranty and return policy. And so that's going to be next Wednesday, Thursday. I'm going to give them a bit of time, probably about 3 days. And most possibly on Saturday, it's going to be Saturday 17th. That will be day 3. This is where I'm going to do a first physical live build stream, and I did one before. It was a bit of a disaster because I was unprepared. It was the first time, but hopefully I've learned from it, and I'm going to set it up better, and hopefully Shaka and Julio will be helping. So again, you will be invited, and I'm going to be your hands. I'm not going to do the build in terms of, I'm not going to decide the steps. You guys are going to help. You're going to kind of direct me what to do first, what to do next. In that way, it's a way for you to flex your tech skills as well, your build skills, which is really important for troubleshooting tech stuff. However, if there are mistakes, that's when I'm going to input. I'm going to say, look, that's not a good idea. The next step should be that. But the very important part of that build will be the post test. And we shout about post so much on this channel because a lot of new first-time builders don't understand they need to do post test before you put the system into a case. Post means power on self-test, and you want to make sure that you test your power supply, motherboard, processor, graphics card, RAM, with obviously some sort of monitor output for your video to make sure at least the system is posting, because once this is posting, the rest is easy peasy. If you put everything into the case before you test and then you don't have a display, you don't have pause, it gets to be more complicated. So that's a crucial step. So that's going to be day 3. Then day 4, probably not the following day because I'll be whacked out. I might do it if I'm okay. I will do it the following day on a Sunday. If not, we're going to do it the following Wednesday, the 21st of October, where I will then assemble the post-test components into the PC and then do some cable management and Bob's your uncle. Day 5, maybe the next day after Wednesday, then we will do installing the Windows operating system and doing some stress test and some benchmarking. That one I may not do live. I just may do a normal recorded video. And then day 6, most possibly it will be the following Wednesday, the 28th. This is where, if I decide not to send the completed build by courier, properly packaged and protected, I may decide to take a trip to drop off the whole build to the client. And the client has asked to remain anonymous, so we're going to respect their privacy. So I won't be able to show you details of their location and their name and their face, etc. However, if I do drop it off, so I may just do some footage and make it into a vlog of a dropping off, and I will kind of set it up for them. And that, I think, might be interesting, kind of a conclusion to the whole thing. And I would love for you guys to join me on this journey. And I hope this sounds okay. I could have easily just done this behind the scenes, get paid for it, and then just, you know, send it or drop it off. But I thought, you know, you guys been awesome. You helped me with my one PC to learn more challenge. It was quite cool, actually. You know, I felt like I was engaging with you. You were engaging back. You had part. You decided 90% of my build last time. Obviously, with me, you know, advising and trying to rectify certain things. But my system works perfect. I don't think I need to change it for any time soon. So why not? We'll do this. And the client is well aware what we're trying to do, and they'll be happy. So that's that. Now, somebody's talking about Davinci Resolve, and they're correct. And this is going to be my last bit, and I will switch over to Discord and see your submissions. The one thing about Davinci Resolve, you have to understand that Davinci Resolve does use some graphical processing, so from the GPU, not all, and it's not every kind of fusion, especially from the fusion tab. So Davinci has a few selected graphics cards they recommend for their, if you want to use their system. For Adobe, it's a bit similar, but not as, I'm not sure if it's as stringent. Okay, so both from NVIDIA and from AMD, obviously they use different OpenCL and what's the other one called? OpenCL. What's the other one called? I don't even remember now. I'm sure someone will let me know. So we might be a bit limited, not limited, but we'll pick some specific GPU. But one thing, do remember, for video editing, the graphics card is not as important as for a gaming PC. And that's the main difference. Most of the processing will be done through the CPU. Okay? So bear that in mind, because some people have a tendency, when we ask them for a suggested build, they have no understanding or little understanding or misunderstanding of what is being built for, and they will just throw, yeah, get the RTX 3080, that's awesome. Okay, we don't need it for a 4K video editing PC, at least not for what they're trying to do, no motion graphics and stuff. So I would say we can save a lot of money and get a much better performance if you choose the parts carefully. All right, Julio, Shaka, let's get some interaction. If anyone wants to come to Discord and call us, do some submission, we'll do that.
All right, sounds good.
If not, Julio and
no
Shaka,
one,
can take some comments.
No one so far.
If that's the case, we have one person who did submit, and I'm gonna bring the screen and we'll dissect it hopefully. So let's go.
I was gonna say, I put my submission in. I just need to edit some stuff real quick.
That's fine. So we're gonna go to this submission. This is from Safwan Akhtar, and he has put a link. So let's open up his link. We'll have a look, and his price comes to £993.33, which is just under £1,000, which is quite cool. Let me first read out the list to you, and you guys can tell me in the comments or on Discord, or Shaka and Zulu, you can input. So for the CPU, he's chosen an AMD Ryzen 7 3800X, which is a 3.9 GHz 8-core processor, and currently retailing for £297.99. If I did not mention, obviously the aim for this project is to see what we can get right now, full price, brand new, but then wait for Amazon to see what comes down in sale price. Hopefully we'll be able to save some money, and then also integrate some used parts on some parts of it. So one of the questions I'm going to ask you while we're discussing this, let me know in the comments on YouTube and on Discord. If we were to recommend some parts which are brand new and some parts which are used, which exact parts do you think is okay to get used, but some which is not okay to get used? I actually did this in a previous video last year. I gave my rationale for them, but let me know in the comments what are the brand new parts that you can't get away with or you shouldn't really buy used, and what are parts that you could do use, especially for this build, bearing in mind what is being built for. Let me know. And first of all, AMD 7 3800X, are we good with that? Can we do better? Shaka, Julio.
The 3800X. It sounds good actually.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't think it'll go that high, but it's a pretty good CPU.
Yeah, like the one I picked for my like
We'll come to yours in a minute. Well, we're
Okay,
going to
okay.
dissect, each first, okay? All right.
All right,
So
sounds
so okay. So is everyone happy with this so far? All right. For the motherboard, they chose the MSI B450 Gaming Plus, which is an ATX motherboard and currently retailing for about £85. Okay. So what about this one?
B450. That one's not bad either, actually. It has some pretty good specs on it.
Okay. If anybody knows anything about the chipsets, the differences between the various reiterations from AMD, and there was a bit of drama, unfortunately. So let me explain some concept. I personally would not pick the B450 in October 2020, and I will tell you the reasons why later. I think there's better things you can get for possibly not much more money and sometimes even the same price, but we'll come to that. Okay, Crucial Ballistics for the memory, 16GB DDR4, 3200 megahertz. Anyone?
3200. 16 gigs. It's all right, but if it's gonna be video editing and stuff like that, where you're gonna be recording and capturing and all that, I would definitely go with at least 32 gigs
Yep,
for RAM.
I might agree with that. And this is one of the areas where I think it's worth putting the money in. Although RAM is probably the easiest component to upgrade or even change in a system. But
Right.
even at the beginning though, it's never a good idea to do things in steps and try to see what works, what doesn't. But I would say many people underestimate RAM. Now, if I don't know if you guys remember, but not a long time ago, 4 GB of RAM, DDR2 was considered fairly decent, extended for gaming. And then a couple of years down the line, we had DDR3, and then it was now, okay, 4 GB you can get away with, but now some games were getting heavier, so it's becoming, do you know what, 8 GB is much better. And then now, I would say just without gaming, just for normal, daily browsing, you probably need 8 GB as a standard or even minimum for a lot of stuff. Because if you look at gaming, it's 16 GB as standard. So RAM is one of those things which every year, every 2 years, it keeps increasing. The minimum threshold increases. I would say get as much RAM as you can, especially sometimes that you remember we had a RAM price fluctuation, a huge RAM problem, and the prices were ridiculous. So, but definitely for video editing, especially 4K, and especially for some time of graphical processing, you want more RAM. So RAM is where I would want to save money elsewhere to be able to put into RAM at this stage. So I would try to get 32 gig, like Julio mentioned. Definitely, it is well worth it. Okay, Seagate Barracuda for main storage, 4 TB. I think that's fairly okay. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Well,
that's fine.
my bad. What's this one for? Like storage, or is it main drive, or?
No. This is for the rest of the storage. So the non-editing, the non-OS.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, cool. For the editing workflow, he's chosen Western Digital Blue, 1 TB, which is about £91.
That's good too.
Yeah. For the main OS, say Brent Rocket, 256 GB M.2 NVMe solid state drive at £50.
Yeah, that one's good too.
Okay, that was my recommendation. If you have a desktop PC and you have space for connection, like on the motherboard you've got maybe 6 SATA or you got 1 or 2 NVMe slots, I would say, from my experience, because it's Windows will at some point break. You will have to reinstall Windows. It's not a question of when. I think, if I'm correct, everyone has had this issue at some point. You have to do a wipe and reload. For that reason
Yeah.
only, operating system on a completely separate drive, and that can be a small, like 250 gigabyte is more than enough. For editing, I would definitely recommend that you put all your editing workflow, your main program, and your footage on a separate drive. SSD being a better option. Having said that though, I do work on a normal hard disk drive for workflow, and I also know people who do, even professionals from YouTube. I've been to YouTube a few times down London. They do use external hard drives for their raw footage. I know some YouTubers who use external hard drive for footage. I know some companies who use external hard drive for their raw footage. It's perfectly fine to do this. However, it will be slightly better to use an SSD for your footage and for your main editing workflow. Absolutely, I would say, yeah, 1 terabyte. And 4K footage, you know, it piles up. It's not 1080p, so you need a lot. And then, like they've picked, which is the 4 terabyte hard disk drive, absolutely fine, no problem with this. I would go one step further, and that is me, and that is probably any tech person in history will tell you that when it comes to data, you need to backup, and backup. So I would add a 4th drive personally. I would try to get as much stuff backed up directly into that computer as one backup. And then I would have a second backup obviously off the computer, maybe even off site. And then a third backup online. Obviously that's for companies, for corporate level, but the principle remains the same. And don't cry if you don't do this, because that is your fault. Only if you can afford. It's an optional thing, but that is my my workflow. Also, the reason I like different operating systems, storage, and workflow, I actually triple boot, so Windows, Linux, and some sort of Hackintosh, and that helps me to switch between platforms, and that helps me to even swap drives, and helps me to even upgrade the drives if I have to, without messing with my whole, my whole system. And it's, if you've got the space, you've got the money, go with that. But it is not entirely necessary. For the, at least have 2 drives. Operating system on one, have a partition, and then you can put your, the rest of your workflow on an SSD, and then a separate drive for your main storage. At least 2. Do not trust Windows. Please. Any technicians here, any IT people, they will tell the same. Okay, YO10 saying, what editing software are you proposing for this machine? YO10, I'm not proposing, but the client, they want to use Davinci Resolve first and foremost. And having said that, if you guys didn't know, Davinci Resolve is a fantastic alternative to Adobe. It is a free alternative to Adobe Suite because it's free. And as long as you're using 1080p, you don't need anything else. It's brilliant. I've been using it for the past year and a half. Absolutely amazing. But there's a caveat. If you want to do 4K footage, I am told, I haven't experienced this because I don't do 4K footage, you need the paid version. But there's good news. While with Adobe you have to have a subscription model, with Davinci Resolve, I believe, let me bring it up, it's about a couple of £100. Does anyone know exactly how much is the paid version? Davinci Resolve from Blackmagic Design, their paid version is there you go, £239. And £239, what I'm told is, if you are working with 4K, then your scrubbing on your editing workflow is a lot more smoother. It's just slight different server, it's a slight different application, so it works much better. However, 1080p, if you want to save money, learn Davinci Resolve. It's quite easy to get used to. It's nothing major, and you save a lot of money. And eventually, even if you buy the £239 full license, this is not something you have to keep buying, because you get the free updates with this all the time. By the way, this video is not sponsored. I have no affiliations with Davinci Resolve or Adobe. I am not getting paid. I mean, I wish I was. So if you guys are watching, please, give us some money. We'll promote you a bit more. This is just me saying that's what I use, and it's fine. In fact, I'm gonna be cheeky, and let me school you on something. Philosophy 101, yeah. For the questions you don't ask, the answers are always 100% no. But if you ask a question, you have a percentage, maybe yes, maybe no. So I am going to write to the companies, Corsair, MSI, Gigabyte, Asus, Davinci Resolve. I'm going to tell them, look, we're doing this project. We need to buy the stuff anyway. If you want us to push you out a bit more, give us some dosh, give us some parts. We'll ask. The worst is they're going to say, HealMyTech, you're nobody. We don't care about you. What the heck? No, wait till we get to 100 subscribers, 100,000, then we'll discuss some sponsorship. But I'm going to ask because, you know, that's what I've learned. Remember this. It's 100% no to the questions you don't ask. Go and ask. So we'll make a video someday how to get free parts. Because I've been getting free parts for a long time. I haven't shared everything with you. And it's about how you ask and who, you know. Anyway, sidetracking. Right. So yes, that's Davinci. However, having said that, you know, the software is just a software. You can use anything you want, really. Adobe, if you want to pay for subscription, that's up to you. Or if you're on Mac, again, that's your problem. Okay, Zulu says use Filmora. Oh yeah, Filmora 9 as well. It's good. Okay.
Yeah, except with Filmora, if you want to do high quality exports, they put a thumbnail over your stuff, so you need to get the licensed version. So I would say just Davinci right now would be best.
So Zulu, how do you do your stuff without the watermark?
Oh, the watermark. I
He got
found
the
some
license.
instructions on YouTube how to remove it.
Is it? Are you allowed to do that? Are you getting yourself in trouble right now? Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Okay
No.
then. Why don't you just? Oh, it's a question of hardware. Maybe you don't want to use DaVinci. Okay, no worries. All right, let's go back to the build. Was it this one? Yeah. For the case, this is a Fantex Eclipse P300A Mesh ATX mid-tower case. I mean, I know Fantex. I don't know this specific case, but the case. What do you guys think of this case? If anyone knows it. 50 quid. It looks decent. Well, for £50, can we get something better, or is it okay?
I prefer the Corsair 200R.
You prefer that? So I guess this is what you've put in yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing is that the Corsair 200R is an old generation case, but it can still accommodate very modern builds today. There's no RGB, there's no frills on it, but if you look it up, you'll see it is a much better quality case overall.
Okay, fair enough. Is it what's the price? Do you know?
It's around 70 right now, I think.
Okay, fair enough. We'll have a look at that. For the power supply, he's chosen a 600 watt EVGA 80 plus bronze semi-modular ATX power supply at about £60. Any thoughts?
Pretty good too.
That's the same power supply I'm going with too.
Okay, cool. And then last but not least, he's added a couple of Arctic P12 fans, 120 mils. So I'm not sure whether this Fantex comes with it. Is it necessary? For this kind of build, I would want to get a case which has all the fans that I need, to be honest. It might be the same price. But anyway, it's just £3 really, so it's nothing major. But still, you know, every penny counts. All right. So generally, guys, what do you think of this proposed build for this client? It just comes under £1,000. What would you want to change in this, especially bearing in mind that if we have a sale from Amazon, or obviously if Amazon Prime Day happens, the other retailers would want to compete. They would be dropping down their prices as well. So what would you change in this build that would make it more basically bang for your buck, more performance? Let me know. Safwan saying, I think it's good, but 2700X will save money. Oh, 3700X. Safwan, I kind of agree with you. I think the price difference between the 3800X and the 3700X is not enough to justify the performance increase. That's why we talk about point of diminishing return. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what it is. I've heard some people say before. But yes, Safwan is saying then use the money towards 16 GB more and to make a total of 32 GB. I agree. On that, I would agree with you. Yes, you'd get much more performance there. Okay, Safwan says hard drives can be used. I don't know about this statement, Safwan. Well, guys, are you okay with buying a used hard drive? Is generally
No.
No,
okay.
no.
Yeah, Julio and Shaka, I agree with you. Safwan, maybe you got lucky, but I don't think most of us would recommend ever getting used hard drives, especially especially mechanical hard drives. You have no idea what's gone through. Maybe it
Hmm.
was used as a football at some point.
All right, I'm submitting my
O-
second one because the first one was just messed up.
okay, that's fine. All right. Okay, not a bad submission. Some things I would change in this submission. I would make get more performance. So let's take a next submission. We have corrupted circuit. So corrupted circuit. Do you want me to do the first one or the second one?
The most recent one that just came in.
Okay. All right. Let's do this one. This is Julio's submission. All right. AMD Ryzen 5 2600X. Huh. Interesting. All right. I see where you're going with this. And this is just $169, so which is about what, £150, maybe less. Your total,
Something like that, yeah.
your total came to about 1161. Actually, Julio, since it's yours, talk to us, talk to us through it.
Well, honestly, I just picked everything without really looking much into it, because like you were like, yeah, you just wanted me to test it out.
Okay.
But um, now that I'm here thinking about the parts, well, I decided to go with the Ryzen 5 2600X. I wasn't gonna go with any of the X ones because they don't have onboard video,
Okay.
or well, because they do, but I was like, you know what? Like this one is a good price range. It's a hexa core. You're getting good performance out of it, and like it's not gonna be too like high price wise, like a 3700X and stuff like that, where you got like a octa core and whatnot. So hexa core I think does it fine. And then the cooler, I put a liquid cooler in there, but I mean, as you were saying, like an air cooler is fine for now too. It's just like a small closed unit.
Mm-hmm.
The motherboard, I went with the X570 just because the whole issues that are with like the B450s and stuff like that. So I just wanted to avoid that right off the bat.
I'm gonna second this before I have to talk about this. I think, guys, if you don't want to take my word for it, just Google it. I think if you're going to buy a motherboard in October 2020 and onwards, it has to be the X570. It doesn't make sense to go with a B450 or the 350 or the B550 or even the X5, whatever, the denominations. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, kudos to that one. Continue.
And the RAM, obviously, 32 gigs, best option. I mean, no matter what kind of RPMs it's running on. So that one right there, the 3200 with cast latency of 16 is pretty good too. Um, Now for the main storage, I picked the 4 terabyte hard drive, which I was actually looking for an SSD, but most of them, the price ranges on them were like pretty abysmal
Yeah, it's
for
too much. Yeah.
for more than a terabyte. So I was like, you know what, this 4 terabyte hard drive does have a good price, and the reviews on it were good as well. People were praising it for the most part all around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, main main C drive is gonna be 500 gig M.2. So I was like $60, basically a no brainer. It's not gonna be 256 gigs, but you're getting double the storage. So if you need to put some extra stuff that you want on your main drive, you can put it on there. And then the second storage, like not the main one, just the one more for video editing
Mm-hmm.
purposes, is a terabyte M.2, which is pretty good as well. Which like it's like around $102, 103, so
Right, cool.
pretty good. And then you were saying that the GPU wise, you guys weren't really concerned about that, so I lowered it to at least a 1050 Ti. So not anything too spectacular, at least nowadays, but it gets the job done for, basically all around normal usage, like internet wise, and running different programs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were also saying that you didn't want any, like, not open panels, but like any RGB luxurious fancy stuff. So I went with a normal 200R ATX mid tower case, just something that gets the job done
Mm-hmm.
and provides good airflow as well. And then just in case, if the build needs to get buffed up later on, I put a gold rated 850 watt.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Nice.
I think knowing what they will do for the next 3 years, I think this will be an overkill. They're not planning to game or do anything crazy. So
Right.
that would be an overkill. I would reduce that and put the money elsewhere. But yeah, generally, I get the context. Fair enough. I'm not sure about. Although we said the graphics card doesn't matter as much, but 4 GB of VRAM, even from Davinci Resolve's perspective, I think they are recommending possibly absolute minimum, maybe 6 GB from Nvidia and then 8 GB from AMD.
Okay.
We'll check the specs list. When I said we don't care too much about the graphics card, we're not meaning in terms of things like ray tracing, or whatever RTX 3080 is bringing us. We don't. It's not needed for this build, but certainly VRAM would be important. So the more, the better, I think. Okay. Not bad. Cool. Let's take another submission. So we've got Shaka. I can't see your submission.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm trying to do mine over. I think mine is a little bit too expensive right now.
Okay. Work on it. So we're gonna take Easy DZ. Easy DZ. Let's do yours. So your one comes to under $1,000. So that's even cheaper. So that's probably about £900 maybe. Okay. By the way, guys, if you've submitted, if you want to come and discuss the reasons for why you chose this, please feel free to come on Discord. You can connect with us. And anyone who wants to contribute, feel free to support us, super chats, or have other ways you want to. Okay. Shaka, go through the list. Shaka, I think it's gone.
Yeah.
Can you?
No, I'm going through this right now.
Okay then. So again, we've got the AMD Ryzen 7 3700X. We've talked about this. Okay. All right. Cooler Master Hyper 212 Black Edition. Now, I am not entirely sure, but I think the AMD Ryzen modern processors that come with either the Wraith or the Prism coolers, I think they're good enough for many workflows. And I've asked the client what they're going to be doing in terms of rendering. It's probably going to be about an hour of raw footage and then 30 minutes of rendered footage, maybe even 45 minutes. And at this stage, it's 1080p. It's not going to be 4K initially. I think you could save about 20 to 30 bucks from the cooler and not get an aftermarket cooler anytime soon. You can certainly save from not putting an liquid cooler, because the reason I'm saying this to you, I don't have an aftermarket cooler on my system. My system came with the either the Wraith or the Prism. I don't know the difference between the two, but I've checked my temps and it's fine. I haven't had any issue, and I edit on average 2-3 times a week. Obviously not 4K, but I could be wrong on this. But this is where I would want to save about $20 to $30 and put it somewhere else. If you get my drift. If someone has a better option and they think I'm wrong, please feel free to educate me. I may be wrong on this, but that's where I would do. That's my intention for this build. At the end of the day, guys, you can always, upgrade the cooler later down the line. we're not talking about here the previous stock coolers from Intel or from the previous FX coolers, the stock one. Those are horrible. We're talking about the Ryzen coolers, the Prism or the Wraith. So let me know what you think. ASRock B550 Pro. I've just spoken about this. The B550M from ASRock, $105. My personal advice, my professional advice actually, from knowing what I know, if you're gonna get anything from October 2020, go with the X570 chipset instead. It's nothing to do with a PCI Gen 4 necessarily. That's kind of a moot point. A lot of graphics card may not support this, but I don't know about the RTX 3080 yet. But yeah, it's about the other compatibility. Going forward, we've had 5 years now of support from AMD. 2016 they launched, and then 2020 they said they're going to support it, and there was some drama. But they had to drop support somehow on some older boards. And it doesn't make sense to me to get the B550 today. Maybe beginning of the year, before the X570 came out, yes, but not now. Especially not on Amazon Prime Day when you can get the X570 for cheaper, hopefully. All right, 30 gigabyte to buy 16 DDR4 3200. Yep, that's absolutely fine. I would say if by the time we get to Amazon Prime Day, if you can get higher speed, like 3600 for a similar price, maybe we go for that. But I'll have to double check in terms of will it be made use of from both the processor and the motherboard as well. Seagate Barracuda standard, yep, 4 terabyte. Western Digital Blue, 250 megabyte, yep. And you've only put two drives here, but that's okay because you've got buffer for about $100 anyway. We could add another drive for the main workflow. 1660 from MSI, GeForce GTX. Okay, yeah, pretty standard. Fractal Design Focus G. Yep, I like that one. Mid tower case. And an Antec Neo Eco Classic 550 80 plus bronze. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. $45. Absolutely agree with this. That's very reasonable. Yeah, happy with this build. Oh, sorry, I did not show that. Have a quick look. Any comments, Shaka or Julio? Anything from YouTube?
I think the build so far is pretty good too, actually.
Yeah.
I just needed some mine right now. Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah, the motherboard's good. RAM's fine. The drives are good too. Wait, didn't we look at this one already? Oh, this one's the edited one from before, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
cool. Any more submissions? Let me just quickly check. We've got Julio. That was one you just done. Oh, okay. Somebody just submitted here. Radeon 7. Oh, we know who this is.
That's me.
Oh, Shaka. Now, let's begin the roasting. But that's not fair, Shaka. You've listened to the feedback, and you now, based off of the feedback, you've gone to do a build. How fair is that? Okay, Shaka, talk to us. Go through it.
Okay, for the processor, I went with the Ryzen 5 3600X 6-core 12-thread processor. I feel that this is a very good bang for the buck. Initially, I was going to go for the Ryzen 7 3700X because of the demands that the 4K videos will put, the load that the videos will put on the processor. But it's not a bad processor at all. The motherboard, I went for the B550. Hold on, that was supposed to be X570 though. Yeah, I don't know why that didn't change.
Damn, he messed up.
Oh, even after all the sneaking, waiting to hear the feedback. Ah, Shaka.
Yeah, when I copied it, I don't know why it didn't save.
So you copied off the wrong answer from your friend, eh?
You know what?
No, it was supposed to be the S5.
You can't switch it right now. We're already looking at it, bro.
Isn't it? It's live.
I mean, it's still compatible still.
Yeah, but I really wanted the S570. I don't know what happened with that. But anyhow, this is not a bad motherboard, I don't think. It still has built-in Wi-Fi on the, I think it's soldered onto the motherboard. The 16 gigabytes of RAM from G.Skill, rated at 3600 speed. We have for mass storage, I have 4 terabyte Seagate Barracuda, Ryzen Initial Caviar Blue, SATA, 6 gigabit per second. For the operating system, I have the P1 500 gigabyte M.2 NVMe. Initially, I know you wanted around 240 gigs, but I feel that with over time, with Windows updates and everything coming in, it might start to saturate around 200 gigs.
Good point.
Right?
Yep.
For the video card, I went with the GTX 1660 instead of the 1660 Ti. Because even though they're not into editing or gaming, not editing but gaming, the 1660 with the benchmarks that I've seen online is still pretty good. For the case, I went with the Corsair 200R. This case has been around for a very long time, and the design has not been changed. Initially, when this case first came out, it didn't even have exhaust fan, and then they added an exhaust fan in the back for extra cooling.
Damn, bro, you
And
copying?
and the EVGA 600 watt 80 plus bronze efficiency power supply, and this is a semi-modular unit, and it's pretty good. You have better control with cable management in the back of the case, and usually Corsair cases and EVGA power supplies go very well together. I really don't see much fault with this build. I mean, it's pretty good, and according to if they have any Windows 7 product keys that they can use to transfer the copy of Windows, they can save themselves about $100. All they have to do is just take their product key and take a picture of it, and then save it on their phone, and they can transfer the copy and save themselves some money.
Sure.
But that's if they have it.
All right. And
it depends on them.
And your bill come to about $1,000, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's under our budget, which is good. Give some wiggle room. Okay, cool. Nice one. That sounds all right. Does anyone has any other submission or any comments so far? Anyone on Discord?
Yeah, I was gonna say we have Safwan. He says he wants to talk with us.
Okay.
So I'm gonna bring him into the chat.
Sure.
All right, there you go. You should be able to hear us now in the chat.
Hello.
Hello.
You there?
Safwan, you got the platform. Safwan, I think audio issue. All right.
I don't know.
So whenever he's ready, you can bring him back on. Okay.
All right.
So what's going to happen? Okay, one question that I asked before, I don't know if you got any answers. I was saying that there are some parts which I think you should not get used, but there are some parts which are okay to get used. Have we had anyone offering a list of what they think is okay to get used yet?
Like just parts that are good to get used.
Yeah. Just for more performance. Obviously, be cheaper and you get more performance in this specific build. Not always, okay?
I would say probably a good bet of getting something used would maybe be like a good air cooler.
Okay, cool.
And besides that, almost everything else, maybe a case if you're lucky enough to find like a good standard case that fits the bill.
Okay.
A really good air cooler that I know about is the Mugen 5 from Scythe. It's around $50 right now.
I'm gonna bring him back in.
Okay.
All right, just make sure you unmute.
I think his mic is muted right now.
Okay.
There we go.
Sorry,
Hello?
can you hear me?
We can hear
Yes,
you.
we can hear you.
Safwan, yeah?
Oh yes. All right. Thank you. Can I see the other the latest one?
Which one? This one?
Yeah, the latest submission.
The one we just talked about, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. It's on the screen right now.
Yeah, I can see it. I just got one suggestion. The Ryzen CPUs work really well with RAM. So I'm guessing the higher speed you have, the better it will work with a Ryzen CPU.
Right. So what you mean when you say speed? Because we've got 3600 here, which is actually quite high.
Yeah.
What did you mean by speed?
The speed of the memory.
So no, but what number were you talking about? Because we've got 3600 here already megahertz. Are you talking about the
Yeah,
cache latency?
I was thinking if we could save a little bit more. For example, the motherboard, it's about $200.
So I'm not following you, Safwan. You said we need more speed, but we've got the speed here is 3600. The quantity is 16 gig. Did you mean to say quantity rather, like the capacity?
Yeah, sorry, quantity, sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah. We're with you on that.
Yeah.
We did say 32 gig would be better. Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what about the motherboard?
I think $200 for a I mean Wi-Fi is good, but $200 I think it's a bit high.
Okay,
It's
fair point. What would you go
Yeah,
for?
because it is for like a gaming type setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not well for the client. It's not aimed at editing. It's aimed at it's for editing.
Right. Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I would go with you as well. Because for me, it's about the chipset, the B550F. I would not pick that over an X570 at this stage.
Yeah.
And I think we're probably getting it cheaper anyway, and they would be better. Hopefully by the time Amazon Prime gets here. So yeah, I'm with you. And the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, they're not essential. They're just an optional thing they want on there. If it's there, if it's not, it's not a big deal. You can put a dongle on there, so that's not a deal breaker. Yeah, cool. Thanks for your submission, Safwan. That's interesting.
Yeah, I've got like a couple of more which should be coming later today.
Okay, fantastic. So just to
Yeah,
remind
I got
everyone,
more.
if you have submissions, we're gonna leave the submissions up until probably Monday, the day before, the night before Amazon Prime. So Monday 12, probably like 23:59 p.m. UK BST time. So you have time, because then we'll use some of those submissions to prepare for the live stream on Tuesday and Wednesday, where we may get some better options. And depending on the budget, obviously, we'll pick the new ones. We may try to kind of pick a random one and announce some sort of, I don't want to say winner because we haven't got a prize just yet, but we'll see what we can do. Somebody on YouTube was saying about DFTO says, I think you're missing a vital part for editing 4K. Maybe we did. I can't put my finger on what we've missed. So DFTO, if you could enlighten us on what we've missed, that'd be good. In the meantime, let me check if we've got any more submissions. I don't think we've got any more submissions just yet. Okay. So, no submissions. Anything from your end, Shaka and Julio?
I think he was saying he's putting the edited version.
Okay. So what did we miss for the 4K video editing parts? Did we miss something?
Well, for this 4K build, is it just gonna be like editing video, or they're gonna be capturing something from another computer?
Okay, I did ask about this. They're not planning to capture anything yet, so no cam link, no capture card necessary at this stage. I already checked with them. They're not even planning to stream. But if they did, they probably would stream from a webcam or a phone, just kind of 720p, which their hardware should be able to handle it.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
All right. My bad. Just replying to this comment on
No
the
probs.
chat.
All right. So we've been streaming over an hour now. I don't want to drag this on too much. Let me just bring up my thing to see if I've missed anything. I don't think I have. I think I've touched on every part. And oh yeah, now let me give you guys my ideal build in terms of if I were to choose between brand new parts and used parts. And that video I will try to link later. I did last year, and it doesn't change. So this comes both from experience, my own builds, from clients, from what I see online, from the various troubleshoot questions I get every single day. If you have the money, here is what I suggest you buy brand new. Number one, power supply, always brand new. Number two, the motherboard, always brand new. Number three, the processor, always brand new. And again, we've discussed, I personally believe, and many agree, that the drives should be brand new. And that's because you don't want a used, especially from a dodgy eBay seller or Craigslist. You're going to have trouble trying to return. It's just not worth the time. Also, practically, when you do a build, the stuff that you don't want to mess with are the most difficult things to remove, and the processor and the motherboard is going to be the hardest thing to remove. It's annoying. Sometimes, depending on your power supply, that can also be annoying to remove after you've done all your cable management. It's just annoying. So you don't want really to mess with those. And in terms of the drive, it's about you protecting your personal data, making sure at least you have warranty, etc. That's what I would recommend to buy brand new. Everything else, in my understanding, is okay to buy used, but there is a disclaimer. Again, try not to do Craigslist or Gumtree. I'm talking about for those who are not very sure, who are first-time beginners. You should buy off of reputable sellers online with good return and warranty policy. Okay, so Amazon refurbished, eBay have a bit of a security when it comes to what's that called, PayPal guarantee. But even then, buy from decent sellers you can vouch for. So I would say, what's the reason? Let's take RAM for example. Yeah, RAM. Come on, you open your side panel and you pop RAM out, you put a new one in, and it's so easy to swap. Even for testing, it's not that difficult to test that. The graphics card in this case, right? Because 4K video editing, so much of the processing will be done through the CPU. You don't, and this client is not going to need ray tracing. They're going to need real-time, massive graphical manipulation. So I would personally get a previous generation high-end graphics card and save some money for the same price. Let's say we're going to spend about 200 something on a 1060 or 1660, whatever it is. I would go previous generation from Nvidia, maybe go high end and get a graphics card from there. It's okay because again, the graphics card, it's not difficult to replace manually, and if you buy from a reputable seller, it will have some juice left. Obviously, we're not in the mining 4K Bitcoin mining thing anymore at the moment, so we're hoping we're not getting something which was abused. So do your due diligence. And now the RTX 3080 is coming, so previous generation GPUs will be dropped down in price. So it's all good. I would personally save money and from the GPU at this stage. However, if you were to game, that's a different story, especially from the game in 4K, or if you're considering maybe rendering in 8K, that's a slightly different story. But here, yeah, I would go with the previous generation GPU and save money there. And I would use the money I saved there to put it in probably a better processor, or then maybe cooler, or even more RAM, those kind of places. So that's what I would personally do. Now the case, come on guys, you could build a PC on your wall. You could nail this bad boy together on a piece of wood, if that's your thing. I mean, you can save 50 quid, 100 quid on a case. Obviously, it's not always practical. I'm saying if you want to save money, a case, from the dollar store, from the used shop, borrow from your friend and just build a box, whatever. You can put components in any case you want. The only thing, if you care about aesthetics and protecting your internal components, obviously you should get something better. But I would save money on a case. I think it's okay to get a used case. Now, the front ports, like USB 3 or 3.1, whatever there is these days, the bells and whistles, you may not have, but it's not a big deal because you can always do some add-ons that connects direct to the motherboard if you wanted more modern ports. Because if you get a decent motherboard, brand new, latest motherboard, the back end will have all the connections you need anyway for the inputs and outputs and all the other ports. So I would definitely try to save money on a case. And RAM, I mentioned before also. RAM is rarely, I mean, they can die, they can cause problems, but statistically, RAM, it has no moving parts unless it was abused and overclocked and it died. But pretty soon you will notice if the RAM is causing problem. Again, RAM, I've personally have bought RAM used many times in the past. I haven't had a problem, so I think it's okay to save money. That's just because in case you want to save money in some places and you want to put the money in better parts where it matters. That's all I'm saying. Having said that, there is no such thing as a perfect system. There will always be a matter or a level of bottlenecking no matter what you put together. Also, this fear that we have, oh, more, I don't want to get that because this is coming out next month. There's always something coming out next month, next autumn, next December, next April, every year. If you keep waiting for the next best thing,
if you continue waiting, you'll never buy anything.
You will never buy anything. Exactly. So just chillax sometimes, take it easy. There's no perfect system. Julio Shaka, give me some of your input, man.
Well,
yeah, I agree because like if you just wait there, you're never gonna get anything done. So you might as well start somewhere, even if some of the parts get outdated faster than others. Hey, like that's how it goes nowadays. Where just every year, every half year, just some new stuff comes out, and you're like, oh well, there goes my $200 I spent on blah blah blah.
Of course. And remember, guys, sometimes the increase in performance, the latest and greatest, is something called diminishing returns, correct? Yes, you can upgrade to the latest, but is it going to give you, if you spend £500 more, is it going to give you £500 extra worth of performance? Not a chance. Okay? So if your system still does what it needs to do, that's your perfect system. If you've got the money to splash, consider donating to HealMyTech or pay Shaka and Zulu to give you some lessons on tech. You know what I'm saying? Or put your money in charity. I'm just saying. But obviously, if you got the money, spend however you want to spend. No problem. Having said that, who can make a prediction about the Ryzen 3rd Gen and the 5000 series and how it may affect our decision? So if we have to go for a better processor based on the price drops, if it happens next week, what do you think we'll end up getting? Do you think we'll consider the, what was it, the 3900? What is it called? The Ryzen 9 series, or would that be complete overkill?
That's what they always claim. They always claim that they're going to be a lot faster, but take the RTX 3080 right now, for example. Right now, a lot of them have been being reported to have problems where on some of the overclocked versions of those cards, if you do not downclock your card to about 50 megahertz, along with the memory clock, they have been reported to crash to the desktop. A lot of them. All right. That is unacceptable because that card came out. It was announced so quickly, and they released it within a couple of weeks or so. It was announced on J2 Saints channel, Linus Tech Tips, all those other guys that were in the hype about this card, and all of a sudden it's got problems. I mean,
some of the 3080.
Yeah, and other cards are around the 3080 as well, the 3070. All it depends on what you need your computer to do. I mean, if you're like you just said, if your system is already doing exactly what you need it to do, there's no point in upgrading. You may just end up finding it to be more trouble than it's worth, and more money unnecessarily.
Yep, you're right. And I just realized, sorry, go back to YouTube comments. DFTO, you're perfectly right. The missing part is a 4K monitor. You're absolutely right. I completely forgot to address this. Thank you for that.
Right.
Quick thing. So the client, I did ask them this question. I said to them, what monitor do they have? They've got two 27 or 28 inch 1080p monitors right now. So I spoke to them about this. I go, look, there's no point getting a 4K enabled machine if you're not going to be able to get a 4K display to benefit from it. They understand it. Right now, they say, look, right now we're probably not going to benefit from it because you're going to use 1080p footage, but they know they have to upgrade to a 4K monitor. Obviously, that makes absolute sense. And thank you so much, DFTO. You've reminded me. I have spoken to them about this. It's on my notes. I completely forgot to mention it here. And guys, again, this is sometimes even for gaming stuff. And I mentioned in my last challenge series that I did, a lot of people spend money on like overkill on components, right? And then they are gaming on a tiny 22-inch 1080p monitor with 60, FPS, what's that called, 60 hertz of refresh rate. And I go, no! If you want to game and you're spending money on components, what about the monitor? For gaming, you need, I would say, 144 hertz refresh rate is a bog standard that you should really get, and then less response time, and at least 1440p resolution depending on the size and your seating distance. You have to think about the monitor. It's a night and a day experience. And people who argue like, no, I'm okay with my 1080p, I don't need but you've got the build for 4K, but you're playing on a 1080p. Yes, it's not gonna be the end of the world, but there's no point overspending on parts. And this is where, again, I would spend the money that I would use to get used parts. If I make savings, I would put this in a better monitor. At the end of the day, guys, what is the one thing that you stare at more after you build your PC? You're not going to be staring at your CPU now, are you? Or your graphics card, the RGB, no matter how pretty they are. You're going to be looking at that monitor. That's what you're looking at. And don't neglect your monitor. Get a decent monitor for the job that you need. And for 4K editing, you're going to want something that gives you absolute gorgeous color accuracy. You can't get a poxy one. And 4K, there's 4K and there's 4K. And there's 4K for video editing monitors. So it does cost a little bit of money. Again, that's where I will put my money, if that makes sense. And I hope people get what I'm saying. All right. Coolio. So what's the plan? The plan, we will leave the submission. Okay, you can submit your stuff. After this stream today, I may decide to just open up another stream if Julio and Shaka are still here. We're just gonna attend the AMD launch. Just kind of chillax, have some kebab, whatever it is that people have. And then maybe we'll do that or not. If not, I will see you in our next live stream. I will try to do a video this weekend on Amazon. Some tips how to get the best out of an Amazon experience. If not, any last words, Julio and Shaka?
Nothing much. Just to thank everyone that stopped by and for submitting as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it wasn't about to turn out this time. I kind of wish I had gotten my the right configuration on there because it was better than the other one. But PC Power Picker kept giving me errors on the screen. I don't know what it was doing.
Man. Oh yeah, it happens to me as well. Okay.
I think there's a bunch of people looking at the site. That's why.
Probably.
It picked the wrong day to do this to me right now, man. No.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is we may end up behind the scenes just compiling a best parts list from all your submissions, and I've got one as well that I've done, and then we may put it up for the vote. So watch out for our community posts on YouTube. We may also announce it on Discord here. We may also announce it on our Facebook group. You can find the link to to join if you want to. Don't forget that Shaka and Julio are there. If you have troubleshoot issues, you can get in touch with them. Shaka and Julio, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Discord.
Yeah, just here already on Discord.
So join our Discord server. You can book a time with them. DFTO is asking, where can we watch the AMD release? To be perfectly transparent, DFTO, AMD has their own YouTube channel. You can watch it on their channel. But like I said, I may decide to do a reaction or a watch it with you guys. So I may stream from my channel and we may just nick their video if they're okay with this. You know, I may end up not having to monetize that video, which is I'm fine with. So stay tuned. We might, you know, just stream from here as well, but you can always go to their own YouTube channel. You can find it on AMD easily. I just subscribed to them today, by the way. Oh, I want to say one thing clear. I'm not Team Red per se, but I've seen through my, you know, tech career so far, it's always been Red that I've bought. I do have a couple of Intel machines, and I've bought an NVIDIA card as well for my gaming PC for the kids. So, but I've always gone down the AMD route because it's just about the value for money. For me, it just worked out, and I'm not made of money, unfortunately. Just to make sure, because some people have commented I'm Team Red. Even if I were, I wouldn't care, to be honest with you. I'm not team per se. If NVIDIA or Intel wants to sponsor us, I don't think Julio, Shaka, or myself would say no, we're Team Red. Ain't that right, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're nobody's team. We're Team Money and Team Sponsorship. Okay. All right, fair enough. So watch out for our posts upcoming, and hopefully, if you don't hear from me anytime before that, join us live next Tuesday, the 13th of October, probably the same time, 3 p.m. Although I might decide to do earlier if the Prime starts early, just to be able to get some early purchase and stock in. So watch out for that. Julio Shaka hopefully will be joining us. And we'll take it from there. And I'm looking forward to your submissions. I'm looking forward to you helping me build the PC when the parts actually come. And we haven't given the client a decent list yet. I give them just a proposal, a very quick one. But hopefully we'll give them a list. And if one of you gives us a perfect list, we'll bring you on the channel as a host, as a guest. We'll do maybe a collab with you, and we'll try to think of something. And I've got some surprise coming for you in our next event. Not this one, not the 4K build. In our future live stream, it's a special project which we want to do regularly. So not to miss anything, make sure you subscribe, and hopefully make sure you help out the channel however you can. There will be Amazon affiliate links below, and I will see you in the next one. Julio and Shaka, last words?
Nothing for right now.
Nothing I can think of right now.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Ash from HealMyTech, helping you go from newbie to techie and develop a better relationship with tech. Subscribe, do your ding thing, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.
Peace out, everyone.
Peace out.